Hey folks, so it is a nice rainy evening and you may hear some background wind and rain, but it's fitting for this video actually. So I'm going to show you how to make a miniature vacuum cleaner that has much better suction than the ones you find in the store. This one here is, you can plug it up to a USB power bank and you can see there is some debris in here where it does suck, but you see that it also, they come out. You can see how some debris right there fell out of that. This one also, it catches debris, but you have to put the ends right on top of the debris for it to suck it up, and it has to be small enough for the wind to pick up. Now, I mentioned it's raining outside, and typically you have rain when you have a low pressure system as the wind turns with the Coriolis effect and you have the mid-latitude cyclones. And when the motors in the vacuum cleaners blow the air out, it creates a negative pressure on the inside, so air can come in, and with that air comes in some stuff it can pick up. So with that said, I'm going to first show you a bad example of a homemade miniature vacuum before we begin with the build of a really powerful one. I used a 500 milliliter wide mouth wash bottle and a USB computer fan, and you can find them with different settings, although you really want it on the high setting. And I used a small pencil USB power bank to use a handle with a tube to a nozzle. I have just a little piece of self-adhesive craft foam because the gnats would fly out if you build this to suck gnats. And you can see I do have a lot of debris in here, so many dead gnat carcasses, and one live one still in there. But to get to the gnats, I literally had to take the nozzle all the way up to them, so I couldn't really catch them in flight unless I was lucky. So this, it looks like something straight out of the movie Ghostbusters, but you ain't going to catch any gnats with this. So now with that said, let's show you how to make a build that will do an effective job at sucking. The materials needed for this build include a miniature battery-powered portable inflation pump, which you can use to inflate your raft on a camping trip or an air mattress, things like that. And this one, you want the one where the air blows in and from one end and out the other one, not the one that blows the air from the side. And you also want some canvas grow bags. So these are basically for miniature seedlings. If you don't want to use pots, you can use something biodegradable. A wash bottle or condiment bottle, some self-adhesive craft foam, and a small zip tie. Concurrently, if you have like an empty spool from a small label maker, that works as well. Using the wash bottle, the first thing I want to do is remove the bottom. You want to make sure the pump will actually fit in here, which it will. So the next thing to do is I went ahead and cut strips of the self-adhesive craft foam. And as you can see, it's the right diameter. So I'm going to go ahead and peel a section off here, fold that down, bring this in here until I have it where I want it. Make sure it's lined up. You're going to do the same thing. Actually, that side is easier to peel off. So after putting 2 in there, I want to see if I can, how tight this is, and I can get another one to be tighter. So this turned out to be a little too snug, which isn't a bad thing. It's just going to be hard to fit it in here. But it does. So now the thing I need to do, you can see the handle. If you're wondering, this is a brand called Flextail, new brand on the market. So anyway, what I'm going to do is figure out where I want to cut a groove. So then I'm going to have this in here to about there with a groove. To about there, that's about right, and curl around. Now, I have a small pair of scissors because a larger pair would be harder to do these smaller cuts, but you know, it's easier to use a bigger scissor because they're sharper than these toy ones and they're less likely to break. So you have to really finesse this carefully. So that's what I have here, and this will fit in and form a nice tight seal. You know, as you can see, the bottle probably could have been a little wider, or the craft foam just a smidgen thinner, but at least air would be sucked in from here. Which you can actually hear the suction, so it works really well. So this pump came with these different attachments, and these can actually pop off and be used for other things. So they're great. I have an inflatable sofa, and the pump I bought when I bought that inflatable sofa was only 0.58 psi. This creates 4 psi of pressure, although I can't seem to tell the difference. The other one seems to have really good air volume. But anyway, this is what I needed for the vacuum cleaner. So I concluded that, like this one here, it snaps in, but it's a wider nozzle, so I concluded that this one would be a more optimal nozzle for that. So I'm going to snap this one on, and these I can just store away until I ever need them. And I'm going to force this in nice and snug. There we go. And then using these grow bags, and I don't know why there's always a hole in them, like in the middle there, but you just need one sheet so you can have good airflow. And you can use the zip tie, you know, and I had one I zipped around and just stick it in there. Or if you want to, you can use the empty label spool, just a little ring, and slip it on that way. So it's all in what one prefers, and this one I think might be a little tighter. So I'm going to go with that, and I could probably just, I can then take the scissors and trim the edge. So now we have the debris removed. Okay. Using the piece of craft foam and the front end of the wash bottle, you want to push it down and just squeeze it in to create a shape. And then you want to cut the outer edge so that you can form a nice gasket, because you want a nice tight seal to maximize the suction. So this, there we go. So now we'll test it on here. It covers it. We'll look in here. It fits in there. Perfect. And then we need to have a hole in the middle. So folding this in half, creating a hemisphere, I can now cut and set this. No, I'm just going to see about sticking it in there. That works. So now we put this in here, and we can put this vacuum cleaner to the test. Okay. We'll start with some debris. And one nice thing is, I pop the lid on and the gnats can't fly out. So let's test this thing against the gnats. I don't know if you can see, but the gnats have been breeding in this tub. And you can see a bunch of gnats in here. Right here. Wow, the force actually smacked that one and injured it, but you can see how many. Let's get it in focus. I have in just a short amount of time. So this one works really well. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you're inspired to make your own miniature vacuum cleaner that really does suck. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.